Hey guys, welcome to NMS. Let's talk about stretch-mediated hypertrophy, contraction-mediated hypertrophy, and the role of negatives in a program. Okay, first of all, stretch-mediated hypertrophy, when a muscle goes down to a contraction, let's say your chest, okay, you feel a load on the muscle, okay, and then you contract the muscle, okay. This is how we normally do it. It's called controlled explosion, okay. So we come down, we feel the stretch, and we explode the weight back up, okay. You can do it on presses, you can do it on flies, you do it on everything, okay? This is how we get our fast twitch muscle fibers to recruit more, okay? Now, where can negatives come into this? Well, negatives, because you're stronger on the negative, you can technically lower more weight than you can actually push back up, okay? Now, this can create some neural priming. Does it actually improve muscle mass? No, not if done on its own. But if you actually bring it into your program, you do maybe 2 or 3 negatives of a heavier weight, and then go back to your normal weight, you'll probably actually be stronger on that normal weight, okay, after doing the negatives, because you prime the muscle to recruit more muscle fibers. Sounds great, yeah? Okay, the only problem is a lot of people use negatives in their programs to go and create muscle growth, and it really should be an aid to muscle growth, okay? There has been a lot of studies that show stretch-mediated hypertrophy and contraction-mediated hypertrophy will cause great muscle gain, but negatives have never actually been shown to cause muscle gain, okay? But they can be used to help the contraction-mediated hypertrophy and to also for the stretch-mediated hypertrophy, okay? But not necessarily doing negatives on their own, okay? Now, the other thing too that we've got to remember is negatives can also be used at the end of a set to go and increase the intensity by going beyond failure, okay? You can't do another positive rep, but you can do negatives, okay? The only thing that you got to worry about with negatives is they cause a lot of muscle soreness. So because there's more muscle soreness from doing negatives than there is from doing positive reps, you're going to get a lot more soreness in it. And I think that's the reason why a lot of personal trainers throw it into people's programs, because it does actually create more soreness and the person feels like they've done a good workout. And this is something that I've watched a lot of trainers do over the years. It increases the intensity of the workout. They do negatives. The person feels like they're absolutely fried. Great. Maybe I've stimulated more muscle mass. It hasn't actually been shown to stimulate a lot of muscle mass, but it can aid in, like I said, building more strength. Okay, so it can be used in a program, guys. So potentially it could be put into your program to build more strength. Now, I'm also going to introduce a couple of other things into this talk, okay? If we look at techniques such as descending sets, okay, or drop sets, or we look at supersets, okay, the number one thing that you need to do before you do any drop sets is learn how to go to failure, because drop sets only work for going and creating multiple failures in a set, okay? Same as what doing negatives in a program can do. It's once you can't do any more positive reps, you do more negative reps, okay? But when you're doing supersets, it's the same theory, okay? So your superset, what I like to do is I like to do an exercise that, like, let's say a pushing movement for chest, and then what I like to do is a fly movement after I've done the pushing movement, much lighter weight, and hit failure again. And the reason I like to do that is because the triceps are the weak link in your chest, but you can do some flies at the end of it and fatigue your chest as well, okay? This is something that can be really good, but number one, you need to hit failure first. So if you're going to do any negatives, any drop sets or any supersets, make sure you hit failure first, because these are beyond failure techniques that can be introduced in a program to increase the intensity of the program, okay? But be really careful with all of them, especially the negatives, because it does create more soreness. And in the long term, if you're getting more soreness, more fatigue, it's going to take longer to recover. And if you're doing it for multiple body parts, it can also cause neural fatigue, okay? So you've got to be really careful with that. So anytime you throw these typical sort of beyond failure techniques into your program, please don't do it for every body part. Do it for the ones that you need to work on a little bit more, and make sure that when you're doing it, that you're giving enough recovery. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm going to leave this video both on YouTube. I'm going to put it on TikTok, and I'm also going to go and put it on Facebook. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good afternoon. Don't forget to like, comment, and share for the algorithm. And don't forget that I've got $10 programs that I've put together. 2-day, 3-day, 4-day splits, all available ready for you to buy. You can go straight to my link in both Instagram, and you can also go to my link on TikTok to buy those. Thanks for listening, and guys have a good afternoon.